Today on Urban Rush, Canadian Idol winner Kalan Porter.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Urban Rush. It's been a little bit since we've seen our next guest, but it's always a pleasure to catch up, and he has a great new album that just came out at the end of August.
He certainly does. It is called Wake Up Living, and of course he is the big success from Canadian Idol, but his brand new album, well, he wrote most of it, so we're going to talk to him about that. Kalan, how are you?
All right, Kalan.
Good, yeah, great to be back.
Good, congrats on the album. I hear it, when it was released, it's doing really, really well already.
Yeah, it was kind of, I've been away a while and that kind of thing, so I wasn't sure how it was going to go over, but it's exciting. So I'm excited to get out and see the fans too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's a nice progression to this album. I mean, in terms of your participation in it. I mean, you really were hands-on, would be a trite way of saying it, but you wrote most of the songs.
Yeah. Well, the first album was kind of what it needed to be. And Canadian Idol gives you the opportunity to get out to a lot of people very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
very quickly.
Yeah. But it's not necessarily maybe known for its great art. So now
you don't have a lot of involvement when it comes to the first release as a contestant, do you?
Yeah. So the first thing was kind of what it was, but this is now a lot more me, and I was able to write, and I went down to LA and recorded for spent a year writing and then recorded for maybe 6 months.
Did you always have that perspective? I mean, when you're going through the whole experience of Canadian Idol, that this is a launch, this isn't sort of the end? Because I think sometimes people get caught up in a bit of it. So was that always your perspective?
I think some people think it's a guaranteed career kind of thing, and I kind of thought going into it, this is just kind of like a little foot in the door kind of the industry that can be tough to get a break in.
It's really hit and miss when you look at both Canadian and American Idol. I mean, there's huge successes. Kelly Clarkson, Clay Aiken, he wasn't even a winner, but Ruben Studdard won, and where did he go?
Yeah.
So I guess you must have that going through your head that you really have to work at it.
Yeah, I think it's, it's now up to me to kind of, become an artist in my own right and prove myself over time, earn credibility, so that's kind of my goals.
How have you been handling the other end of things as far as fame goes? Because you've been caught up in a Perez Hilton kind of banter back and forth, and reading about you that way, that must be very odd to handle that stuff.
Yeah, it's it took some getting used to. I was always kind of a shy, more reserved person, and kind of picked probably the worst industry to go into for that.
Well, and the worst format to go into if you're kind of shy.
Yeah.
The Idol format is just.
But I love performing, and so that's kind of what I love doing, and all the other stuff is kind of part of the.
You seem to have a sense of humor about it. Every time I've read something, you've managed to retort in a way that's tongue-in-cheek that makes me think, you know what, that's cool.
Yeah, I think there's so many people that take themselves so seriously, and I try to just have fun with it, enjoy this whole kind of ride, because you never know when it's going to be over.
Well, and friends and family, I would think, when you have an experience like you do, become so important. People who really know you, who know who you are, where you came from, the kind of person that you really are, above all the things that people try and hang on to you.
I think it's who you surround yourself with, and my family is so important to me, and actually part of the reason I took such a long time making this record is because I went home and spent time with my mom who was sick with cancer, and so that was an important thing for me to do, and it was a tough decision because I didn't know if the fans would still be there when I came back and that kind of thing, and I know how fickle this industry can be.
One of the songs,
I think it makes it better.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean,
is one of the songs about your mom? Is that right?
Actually, yeah, a lot of the record is written kind of, there's some songs that were written like just a week after I found out she was diagnosed, and some when I went home, and then some at the other end of things when she was doing better and I was coming back to Toronto, and so it kind of spans the whole range of
Wow, there's
emotions.
a lot of emotion there. I guess writing is the best thing to do.
Yeah, I think before I wasn't really sure what I was going to write about. I haven't had a lot of miserable, failed relationships and that kind of thing. But,
that's what you're supposed to do.
Kalan, you got to look up. Not yet.
But I think this, the thing with my mom's cancer and that kind of thing, kind of gave me a whole new creative place to draw from.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, and a good experience to be around family and to be around people and to be participating in that. I mean, it can be a difficult time, but at the same time, it really brings people together. I've had that experience in my family. It just,
I think it definitely brought our family closer together. I was living in Toronto and everything, and just to come home and be grounded, regrounded and centered, I think it was really important.
You're a good son. That's what it is.
Now, you got to perform on the current season of Idol. You were on last week performing. What was it like walking onto the set and being there again?
It was so loud when we were performing. I couldn't believe it. I forgot how loud it was. So, but it
Way
was,
to
it was
sound like a grandpa, man. That's
I know.
It's so loud.
The current contestants, of course, it's a great batch of contestants once again this year. How did they treat you? They must be looking up to you in awe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird going back. I feel like I have so much advice I could give them and that kind of thing, but I think you kind of have to figure it out for yourself and make your own thing of it.
Trial by fire. It's
yeah,
the only
it's a
way.
pretty big learning curve once you get out of there. And no matter how intimidating the show is, once you get in the real industry, it's a whole nother world.
Well, and once again, I mean, you use the opportunity in a really intelligent way. You showcase your new music, you go in there, and it sounds great, and it looks great, and everything else. So
yeah, I kind of, before I really wanted to distance myself, and I've kind of come full circle in that, I've embraced that's where I've come from, and people know that, and, but now I want to kind of become an artist in my own right. So.
Well, I think you are.
Well, as you are, the album's doing really well, and of course there's a ton of, what do they call the Kalan Porter fans again? Kalanadians?
Kalanadians. I always get it slightly wrong.
Okay, Kalan's going to perform a tune for us from Wake Up Living, so don't go away. More Kalan Porter right after this. Stay tuned. Kalan, thanks.
Excellent.